All right, I was on a radio this morning with Mark Simone at WOR in New York City. I do him every Tuesday, and we post my radios on the site, as you may know. And what we're talking about is the lack of civilian or the folks rising up in the face of horrible violence directed at them. So on Memorial Day, when George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, the press got the tape and it was like nonstop, loop after loop after loop. It was horrible. I mean, no decent human being could watch that tape and not be repulsed. And what happened afterward was in context. People took to the streets and said, look, enough. Police officers have a lot of power and they have to use it in a responsible way. All of that was fine and should have happened. And police reform, as they put it, is a good thing if it doesn't hurt the police from protecting you. Now, if it starts hurting your protection, then it becomes a bad thing. And that's what's happening. So many of you watching me don't live in the big cities. You live in towns where the police are basically there and not much has changed. But in Seattle, in LA, in Chicago, in Baltimore, in DC, and particularly here in New York City, the police are under attack. And like that, cause and effect, you talk about cause and effect, boom, murder goes crazy. And who's getting killed? The poor people. They're getting killed because the drug gangs that run a lot of those neighborhoods now can come out and do whatever they want. Because in New York City, the anti-crime unit, the undercover detectives who were there to arrest people with guns, have been disbanded for no reason. You all know this if you follow the No Spin News and other news agencies. But then if I'm in a neighborhood and I see a 3-year-old get shot dead and a 17-year-old and just kid after kid after kid and innocent person after innocent person get murdered or severely wounded, I'm out there with a sign, But we don't see any of that. And I'm going to try to explain to you why. Because it is a very troubling situation in this country. There's no problem running down the police and screaming about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Oh, no, that's fine. But demonstrating against out of control black on black crime is not fine. You can't do that. Why? Now, it's not up to me as a citizen. It's up to me as a reporter, but not as a citizen. I live in a safe neighborhood. Okay? It's not up to me, but if I were living in a neighborhood that was besieged by crime and violence all over the place, I'd be trying to organize. Now, I know that people are scared. I know. But there are power in numbers. We don't see any numbers. Now, the first thing is that I wanted to give you stats from the month of June about black Americans killed in the big cities. They don't exist. Now, the FBI should start to compile those statistics. They should break them down. Hispanics, blacks, whites, killed. All right? But we don't have them. I wish we did. But I can tell you that in 36 big cities in this country, the murder rate is up 22% this year. At least 22% in 36 cities. Chicago up 34, Philadelphia 23, Nashville, Tennessee 43, excuse me. New York 23, New Orleans 36%, Indianapolis 38%, Jacksonville, Florida 13, and on and on and on. So this is a major problem in this country. This is a worse problem, much worse, than police abusing their power. Do we all get that? This murder of poor Americans is much worse than police hurting people. You're never going to hear that, ever. There are exceptions. Here's one of them. Roll it.
When you look in the city of Chicago, there are 9 children who died by gun violence, by black on black gun violence, from June 20th all the way to today. And you're talking about, even with the Atlanta child murders, there were 28 kids who died in 2 years. You're talking about a month, and you have 9 black kids, and the Black Lives Matter movement has said nothing.
And they don't care. The Black Lives Matter Global Foundation, which is behind the BLM movement, doesn't care. What they want, and we have proven it, is to overthrow the government and impose Marxism. Poor black kids dead in the street, they don't care. So Terry Crews, the guy you just heard from, is telling you the truth. But he's one of a very, very few. And you saw Lemon, well, like this. Oh no, oh no. Okay, so why? Well, first of all, peer pressure. You know, you remember back to your high school days, tremendous peer pressure on teens to conform. Anybody who's out of the box is bullied and diminished and all of that. Peer pressure, tremendous among teenagers. Well, it's tremendous among adults too. And in black communities, there is a tremendous pressure not to speak out against the orthodoxy. And the orthodoxy is, unfortunately, white people. They did it. They've been persecuting blacks since slavery. White people. Not every African American believes that. I think most don't. But that's what they hear from their so-called leadership. Okay? Those white people, they're responsible for all the problems. Well, no. Okay, so the peer pressure is immense. The second reason is that there's a narrative that I just mentioned. And the narrative is that white privilege, white supremacy, we don't have a chance. We, the African American community, doesn't have a chance because the whites have everything and they want to keep us down. That's a narrative. And the media picks that narrative up and loves that narrative. Okay? So if you're then going to say, well, this isn't a white problem here, it doesn't fit into the white narrative, this is a black problem. All right, these drug gangs in these neighborhoods are blacks, and they're killing other blacks, and they don't care, and there's nobody stopping them. That's racism, by the way. And I've said that many, many times. That's racism. To watch poor, defenseless people be gunned down in the streets and not do anything. I'm talking to you, Governor Cuomo in New York. I'm talking to you, Governor Pritzker in Illinois. At least the governor in Maryland, Hogan, told the Baltimore authorities, you better clean it up. And the governor of Atlanta declared a state of emergency and moved the guard in. Why didn't you do that, Pritzker, you coward? Cuomo, you coward. It's your fault, Cuomo, for signing that insane bill that requires no bail for violent people. Anyway, the other thing is that people, and this transcends color, this is all Americans. Most of us don't want to admit we made a mistake. So if you voted for Bill de Blasio, the worst governor in the city's history, the worst mayor in the city's history. If you voted for him, you don't want to say, gee, I'm an idiot. You want to make an excuse. If you voted for the Seattle mayor, Durkin, you don't want to say, gee, I was really a moron for doing that. You don't want to do that. Most people don't. So they kind of shy away from it. And the fourth reason is the media, because the media basically, as I said at the beginning, pounds home the George Floyd. And they should. They should. I wouldn't have played it like that. In fact, on No Spin News, we use a little of the tape, but we didn't relish it as they did in the network news and the cable news. They loved it. Loved the tape. All right? To me, it's so disturbing. I still think about it. Those police officers, how could they do that? Okay, but anyway, the media doesn't want to report. And that's racism too. These CNN people, you're racist, you're racist, he's a racist, you're racist, you're racist, Trump's a racist. You're a racist. You don't cover a major story because you don't want to point out that black on black crime is an enormous problem. You're a racist for doing that. I asked my staff, and I got a good staff, I got to tell you. I mean, I brought over a bunch of them from Fox News. We don't make mistakes, and if we do, on a rare occasion, we correct them immediately. So I said, look, give me a comparison of police shooting blacks under President Obama and Trump. Okay? Let's throw it on up. So in 2015, we don't have stats before 15. They don't exist. 258 blacks were killed by American police. 216, 234. Okay? So that was Obama. Then Trump comes in. 224, 228, 250. There's no difference. There's no difference. All right? That's good. Come back to me. So you see that this whole thing is a media-driven lie. There's no difference. So if there weren't demonstrations under the presidency of Obama, and it's the same, what is this? What is this? Well, Trump's a racist. So anyway, look, I'm giving you all this up because this is what I always do. And those stats, by the way, come from the Washington Post. I want you to have knowledge, to know what is really happening in your country. So you as premium and concierge members, you can watch this 15 times. You can jot those things down. The next time one of your liberal friends go, oh, the police are out of control. Oh, wait, it's the same. And most of those, the overwhelming majority of those black people who were killed by police had guns. And they were shooting at police or about to. So it's not like they were just walking down the street. In Chicago, I think the number is 7,000 black people murdered. 7,000 in the last few years. Pritzker, hey, wake up. How could you, if you guys live in Illinois and watch me, how can you possibly vote for that man? Okay. Now let's get on to the bigger picture. So what we're seeing now in America, and it was funny because the play Hamilton is on Disney Plus. I don't have Disney Plus. I'm not going to pay for anything Disney. So I think Disney is hurting America every single day. And I've explained it and explained it and explained it. But anyway, Hamilton, one of the best plays I've ever seen. I had the good fortune to meet the guy who created it, Miranda, Lin-Manuel Miranda, whose father, by the way, is a big Democratic organizer, but he was very nice to me. Mr. Miranda was very nice. And I had a nice discussion with him. Well, now that Hamilton play, oh no, they got to cancel it. Because you didn't say that Hamilton was involved with slavery, which he was on the periphery, but it wasn't a major part of his life. Okay? So now, a very liberal man, Lin-Manuel Miranda, we got to get rid of Hamilton. Oh, no, I can't have it. This is how crazy we are. Not we, I mean, it is. So the big lie is that America is not the land of opportunity. It's stacked against minorities, not just blacks, but Hispanic Americans and everybody else that's not white. All right, white guys, white privilege. Check your privilege. Anybody says that to me, I'll never speak to them again. Unless they take a ride with me to Levittown. All right, so this is the big lie. And it is a lie. How do I know it's a lie? Because I know a man named Barack Obama. I know him. And I know exactly what his life trajectory is. And this story of President Obama dashes the lie. So I'm riding home from Eastern Long Island over the weekend. I hear Jay and the Americans. Remember Jay and the Americans sing Only in America, Land of Opportunity, where a boy could grow up to be president. And who was that boy? This was long before Jay and Americans were long before Barack Obama. It's a great song, by the way, Only in America. Google it, play it for yourself. So Barack Obama was born in Hawaii. He had a hippie mother, all right? And his father was a Kenyan and split almost immediately. Gone. Bye, little Barack. See you. I don't care about you. I'm going. And he went back to Africa. And he had a few stops, but didn't pay any attention to Barry. That's what they called him when he was a kid. And the mother is dragging Barry all over Indonesia, everywhere you can imagine. And finally, my mother dumps little Barry to her grandparents, to her parents, Barry's grandparents, in Hawaii, where he's raised in a middle-class home, but didn't have any money, just public school system, nothing special, no advantages, no privilege, nothing. White grandparents. So then, Barack Obama's a smart guy. He was gifted with acute intelligence. And he goes to Columbia University, all the way to New York City from Hawaii. Ivy League school. He does well. Well enough to get into Harvard Law School, where he, again, excels and gets on the Harvard Law Review and is a star. So remember, this is a guy with no father. Mother is running all over the place, doesn't really pay attention to him. Raised by grandparents in Hawaii, no money, and he's got a Harvard Law degree. What other country in the world could provide that kind of opportunity? And it was provided. Barack Obama didn't pay his way through those schools. All right? Do we all have it now? This is the terrible America. Then he gets out of Harvard Law and he goes to Chicago. And he gets into politics. He's a community organizer. But he got his eye on the prize. Then he runs for the Senate and he's elected senator from Illinois. Barack Obama, Barry. He's now a senator, a United States senator, one of 100. Pretty amazing, right? Not over. Barack Obama does not distinguish himself in the Senate. In fact, on most bills, he votes present. Why? Because he had his eye on a bigger prize. Because he knew this is America. And I have a shot at the brass ring, which is the presidency. Okay. So then, after only a few years in the Senate, he runs for president. And he beats the Clinton machine. Hillary Clinton and Bill beats them. How? How could you do that? And then he runs against John McCain, a war hero, who's got the whole white establishment behind him, or so they thought. Almost 70 million Americans voted for Barack Obama in this racist country where we don't care about blacks. And then he's reelected against a billionaire, Mitt Romney, another white privilege guy. Wipes him out. Even though Barack Obama's presidential record isn't that good, because he tried to redistribute income and it didn't work, because we're a capitalist country. That doesn't work here. Okay. So, can anybody refute anything I just said? No. Barack Obama will tell you himself that America is the land of opportunity. He has to tell you that because he lived it. You don't see him out there screaming about socialism, white supremacy. You don't see that. Now, I don't know what he thinks, but it would just astound me because all the times I've spoken to him, I never got that. I never got that white people are bad, slavery is everything, this country is terrible because we had slavery and all that. I never got that. I'm an American. I developed my potential to the fullest. This is the land of opportunity. I seized it and I succeeded. Barack Obama. Now, Yale gonna teach that in political science classes? No. Harvard? No. Gonna hear it on any of the network news? No. Because they are perpetuating a big lie. That's why. Why are they doing this? Why? Why would they want to do? Why would AT&T and Disney and Yale and Harvard, all of them, want the world to think this is a treacherous nation that steps on minority people? Why would they want that? Because they believe it. And the only reason they believe it isn't based on facts. It's not based on that. It's based on they want to believe it for whatever emotional and psychological thing is going on in their mind. And I don't know. I can tell you when I attended Harvard and I was in these classes, when a professor started that nonsense, I stood up and hit him with 15 facts and I made it head spin. And the class was like this. Now, I was in my 30s when I attended the mid-career program and got a master's degree at the Kennedy School. And I had plenty of experience all over the world. And I knew America is the greatest country ever. Not perfect, can be improved, all of that, all of those little asterisks, but it's not even close. It's not even close. Yet we have today, in the year 2020, this unbelievable deceit that major corporations, major media corporations are peddling, pushing. It makes me so angry, I can't even tell you. And the only solution to this, the only solution, is for those who believe, as I do, in the traditional nobility of America to stand up. That's why we've started our campaign. And this is just a small thing, but it's significant. Now, the other reason that this big lie has taken root is because there are a lot of Americans who are stupid. And I don't want to be uncharitable, but I don't know what other word to use. I guess I could use dumb. It's not misguided. I'm not talking about people who are misguided. I'm talking about people who don't know anything, yet are out there spouting off about stuff they have no clue. Now, Campus Reform is a good organization. You should go there and check it out, campusreform.org, I believe it is. So they went out over 4th of July weekend. You can ask some younger people some questions about their country. Roll it.
All right, so the 4th of July is coming up. You know, there are a lot of protests that have been going on around the country. What do you think the legacy of our country is? Do you guys think we're a racist country?
There is a little bit of racism, but I feel like it's more like with the police, you feel me?
America was built off of slavery and all of that.
Our country most definitely has a bad legacy. I think it's pretty obvious with the president that we have right now.
White people take it for granted. They think they're entitled, but they're not. Like, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, but they take it to an extreme that they're like the supreme race.
Black people like basically made this country. They like were slaves for a long time.
Do you guys know who we got our independence from?
I don't know.
America?
Oh, Britain.
Great Britain or something like that.
England.
What was the name of the war that we were fighting at the time?
The Civil War?
The French Revolution, right?
The Civil War?
The Industrial Revolution, right?
I think it's the Civil War.
I actually don't remember. I know what it I really just don't remember.
Okay. And I mean, look, I didn't do those interviews, but you remember Water's World? You remember it? That's why I did it, to show you that there is a huge educational deficit in this country. No, they're not bad people. They're not bad people. But they're more interested in their machines, in their earphones, whatever it may be. If you don't know what the 4th of July is and what war was fought for our freedom, if you don't know that, you basically have no right to an opinion. don't have a right to an opinion because, I mean, you can get more out of a salamander. Again, I don't want to be arrogant and supercilious. I worked my way up. I don't have any privilege at all. I paid for my upper education. I was lucky to have 2 parents in the home who cared about me. So, yes, I had an advantage there. Barack Obama had it a lot harder than I did. But he made it, and so did I. So today, Attorney General Barr comes out, and he says that more than 200 people have been charged with federal crimes because of all the rioting. And all the rioting is going to hurt the Democratic Party. You haven't heard anything. They haven't addressed it at all. So 270, as of this morning, 207 people have been charged with federal crimes. All right, 61 in Chicago, 16 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 32 in Cleveland, 22 in Detroit, 11 in Milwaukee, 15 in St. Louis, Memphis 7, Indianapolis, we don't know how many. New York, Chicago, LA, it's not on the sheet here. Okay? Now, I assume that in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, the feds are still investigating. I guess this is an update. So this is part of the Operation Legend, named after Legend Talifer, 4-year-old who was shot and killed in Kansas City during a violent demonstration where gunfire went through his wall of his house and killed him. This is going to be a big issue. And I expect next week in the Republican convention, there are going to be 2 main things that go on. It's going to be violent protests, police diminishment. How can you vote for people who support this? The Republicans are going to say. And then it's going to be Joe Biden's mind. Those are the 2, over and over and over next week. I support the Justice Department in getting these violent people. And here is the most interesting thing about this. Nearly 400 firearms have been seized by the feds in this Operation Legend. 400. So these are not peaceful protesters. These are violent anarchists. And it's eye-opening. Minneapolis, residents there suing the local government. And the suit is being filed by the Upper Midwest Law Center. The lawsuit says, quote, "You, the city government of Minneapolis, are in violation of the charter by defunding the police department. You have gone below per capita the number of police officers that are required according to the law." All right, the lawsuit asked the state court in Minnesota to order the mayor and city council to meet minimum number of police officers. That could succeed. That's in Minneapolis where they have record homicides, and it's only August. Record homicides in Minneapolis. So police are retiring in record numbers in Chicago and New York City. Also going out on disabilities. I'm not going to give you the numbers, but they're staggering. Cops are saying, see you. Okay, we don't want to be part of police agencies in liberal cities, and that puts everybody in danger. That's going to be a big thing next week for the Republicans. Democrats not even coming close to mentioning it. New York City is the worst. There's 1,000 more police officers have put in their retirement papers this year, and it's only August, compared to last year. Oh, my God. In Texas, they're going the other way. So Texas, Governor Abbott is going to sign a bill that says if any town or county in Texas defunds the police, they cannot raise property taxes. So property taxes are frozen if you take money away from your local police in Texas. Very creative, very interesting. Okay? So that's what's happening on the police front. COVID. Let's get into COVID. Notre Dame tried to open. 1 week later, it had to close. 146 students tested positive for COVID. Michigan State University, same thing. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, same thing. This is a disaster for the country. We have to get back to some kind of normalcy here in America. We have to. Because what I worry about is that so many people will vote because they're afraid of COVID and they buy into, oh, it's Trump's fault. All right, Trump did it, which is just absurd. Maybe he could have been more aggressive in issuing cautions about COVID. Maybe that's a legitimate point to debate, but it's not his fault. No government can control this insidious disease. So I was hoping that the colleges could stay open, but now it just rises up. This is throwing off our whole republic, our whole democracy, this disease. And the only hope is that a vaccine emerges. You're not going to get it in time to vote, but if it's there and the possibility that COVID will be taken out will help balance the election. All right, so then you vote on the issues, not on the emotion. Oh, so I want the best for my country. When Notre Dame went down, new law in California requires college students to take ethnic studies courses. This is indoctrination. In order to graduate from a California college, state college, not private, all right, you have to take an ethnic studies course, which will be a America bashing thing. Everybody knows that. So this is a step to institutionalize America bashing in California, the most radical left state. The airlines are collapsing all over the world. Air travel down 85% from last year. The industry is wiped out. It will reemerge in some form after a vaccine. It will never be the same. So air travel is essential in this world, but they're going to have to almost start from scratch. And maybe they'll make a better airline industry. But right now, gone. Entertainment industry, gone. All right? Very few things in production. People don't want to watch them. It's really, really. So airline, entertainment, the two big industries. Now, the post office. I'm not going to get into this because it's bogus. All right? Donald Trump does not want mail-in voting because mail-in voting can lead to massive fraud. That is a fact. In fact, you will see that this November. After the election, after Election Day on November 3rd, there will be lawsuits all over the place because of mail-in voting. That will happen. Now, I have it on tape, and I'll play it for you when the lawsuits are filed. You can't control mail-in voting. There's too much potential for fraud. So this post office thing is a bunch of bull. People will mail in. I know they will. And we're going to have chaos in November. There's no doubt about it. Because some states like New Jersey, Nevada, and the others I mentioned yesterday are saying everybody has to vote by mail. And they're using COVID as an excuse. Here's my favorite story of the day. So I get a letter yesterday from Andy in Hawley, Pennsylvania. That's in the Poconos. And Andy's a very loyal O'Reilly guy. And he writes me a letter and he says, you can add Kroger to the Black Lives Matter list. Friends of ours who live in Florida sent us a copy of their receipt from Kroger's with a 59-cent charge that is a donation to Black Lives Matter. All right, this is what Andy sends me. I went, what? So I had my crack staff check it out. Not true. Kroger gave us this statement. We have spoken to the media relations team at Kroger and reiterated that they were not charging a Black Lives Matter tax in Florida or anywhere else, and that the receipt photo was proven to be photoshopped. This is what happens on the internet. Talk about fraud. So Andy and everybody else, Kroger is fine. They were very responsive to us, and we respect the company. This day in history, 74 years ago, August 19th, 1946, Bill Clinton was born. So it's his birthday today. The reason I mention this is because the man has an amazing story. Take out the politics and the Lewinsky and all that other business. Take it out. But this is why America is a great country. The man is born, all right, William Jefferson Blythe III. That was his name, okay? His father died 3 months before his birth in a car accident. His mother remarried to a guy named Roger Clinton. And then Bill changed his name, legally it was changed for him, to William Jefferson Clinton. He was raised in Hope, Arkansas, in poverty. Didn't have anything, okay? Raised largely by his grandmother. And he goes to a Catholic grammar school. He gets good grades. Then he goes to Georgetown. It's a great college, or used to be. It's taken over by radicals now. Jesuit college. Does well. Gets a Rhodes Scholarship. Then he goes to Yale Law School, almost impossible to get into. Then he goes back to Arkansas, becomes Attorney General and governor, and then president. Now, this is a kid who didn't have a father, he didn't have any money, all right, living in Hope, Arkansas, and then he rises to become president. That's a great country. It has nothing to do with skin color. And that's why I'm mentioning it today. All right, let's go to the mail. Nancy, concierge member, that means on BillO'Reilly.com, if you're a concierge member, you get to email me privately, but it comes right to me, and I answer you. Okay, that's what concierge membership is all about. It gives me anything. All right, so it's bill@BillO'Reilly.com if you want to get in touch with me on the overall email thing, but if you're a concierge member, you get a secret email. Nancy says, we need these big Trump rallies that will engage the country. Not going to get them. Tulsa was a disaster. Not going to get the rallies. Not going to happen. Leon, as you stated, all ballots in Oregon are mailed out to the voters. We do have drop boxes at various locations to deposit our completed ballots. So, we are not totally dependent on the U.S. mail. We're making a very strong effort to replace at least some of the loons, but it's an uphill struggle. You know, Oregon, if it wasn't for Multnomah County, Oregon would be a red state. It's Portland, it's Salem, and it's the college towns. And everybody else, pretty moderate conservative. I live there, I know. Roger Getz, lifetime premium member. Way to go, Roger. I hope you enjoyed all the books you got. Get all of my killing books. Auburn, Alabama. For those that are concerned about voting in person this November, I have a solution. Move the polls to Walmart, Costco, and grocery stores. There you go. Come on. You go into the polls, you can vote. I'm doing it. You can do it. Wear your mask. Stand 6 feet apart. Okay. Teresa DiDio, Howell, New Jersey. New Jersey Governor Murphy signed an order that no one will be allowed to vote in person. We must vote by mail. Can he do this? Yes, he can. Yep, he can do it. Greg, your new column is great. I sent it to my family. That would be the Kamala factor. I hope everybody reads the column because that's the inside story you need to know. Bill, would you mention a few conservative colleges? BYU is a given, but we are not Mormons. You don't have to be Mormons to go to BYU. We're lifetime members and never miss your broadcast. All right, look, Hillsdale College in Michigan, conservative, Liberty in Virginia. Generally, colleges in the South are not as crazy as the colleges in the North and the West Coast, but you got to just go to their website and see. All right, you'll get it after seeing what's going on there. If big Black Lives Matter banner comes right up on their website, you know it's politically correct. But there are a number of moderate colleges that don't ram far left doctrine down kids' throats. But you got to do your research. Dick Johnson, Madison, Wisconsin. Bill, concierge member here. Thank you for all you do. I have 25 bumper stickers and placed one on my wife's vehicle. I hope she knows about that, Dick. Also, we have a modest front porch with 2 chairs, which I adorned with the bumper stickers as well. That's how you do it. Spread these things around. Get the message out. Stand up for your country. Gary Sexton, Twin Falls, Idaho. I received my stickers and gave them to my son, who's a long-haul driver. He's putting them on trailers going across the USA. We want to spread the message across America. Excellent, Gary. You're a patriot. Thank you. Steve Grasso, Philadelphia. That's a sharp wristwatch you wear, but I cannot tell the brand. This is a Strubling out of Switzerland. $150. It's great. I don't spend a lot of money on watches. I don't buy any jewelry. I don't do that. All right. I don't know why other people do, but you have a hobby, you have a hobby. But Strubling, it's a nice watch. Okay. Killing Crazy Horse. Now, Crazy Horse didn't have a watch. All right. Indians told time in a different way, by the sun. And they could tell the shadows on what time it was. So, Killing Crazy Horse, the merciless Indian wars in America, is out in 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks. You got to pre-order it. You're going to love this book. Now, my publisher has been with me since Killing Lincoln. Remember, there are 9 killing books once Crazy Horse comes out. Says this is the best one. I can't make that determination. Like they're all my kids, so I can't pick the best one. But this guy is brilliant. He goes, Crazy Horse is the best. I went, whoa. 17 million copies of my books in print. So check it out. You order it in advance, you get it first. I'll sign them for you on BillO'Reilly.com, all of that. Take a quick break. Be back with the final thought about you being a fair person. All right, here's the final thought of the day. Fairness is very important to me. When I'm treated unfairly, I really don't like it. I know it's part of life. Life is not fair. But when I do what I do, which is analyze the news, I want to be fair. Now, I laid out a number of Democrats tonight pretty hard, but I think I backed up every single syllable with facts. All right? That's fair. That's fair. And I know the dopey Republicans next week are going to do the same thing the Democrats are doing this week, but in reverse. They're going to leave stuff out. They're going to demonize. They're going to propagandize. They're going to do it all. That's what these parties do. Now, why are the networks hiring people to parrot what politicians do and say? Why? As I told you at the beginning of the program, I try to watch this stuff and I'm sitting there going, tell me anything. You didn't hear that there were 25,000 people shot in Chicago under the Obama administration, did you? Is that a tough stat to dig up? No. And Michelle Obama is saying she doesn't want our children to get shot in the street. Well, there you go, with all due respect. So, if you see me not being fair, you got to let me know. Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. And if I see you not being fair, I'm going to come right up and tell you. And I'll see you tomorrow.